supposed to have a live.
Yeah.
But good old YouTube.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody coming out. So,
This is the fake live.
the pre-recorded fake live.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do a live again on Halloween because our 23 hours will be up.
That's right. So we'll answer some of your questions, which you think you're going to ask.
So if you want wisdom, if you have questions, come into our live and ask the questions.
Absolutely. You know, because there's several questions that I thought would be asked. Number one, yes, I am married, and yes, it's very serious, and no, you don't have a chance. I kind of figured that'd come up.
Yeah, it usually does.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm devastatingly handsome, old, and that kind of thing, but it is what it is.
Now we know where we got all of our looks. We got them all from our dad.
Yeah. Sometimes the apple falls far from the tree. Sometimes it falls close to the tree. You'll have to be the judge anyway.
And then we got all of our height from Mom.
Right.
Short ones.
Yeah, I'm 6'2.5", and they're all like 4'1" dwarf.
Now, did you have any more stories about your inventions? Because that last one, even with the hot dog, that was pretty funny. So what other inventions did you do?
Well, I was always wanting to have a go-kart or a motorcycle or something to get around. I was always just really fascinated and wanted to have something. And one day my dad had me out tilling the back, the old till along. And it occurred to me, it had this little deck thing over the tines, things that go like that and dig in. And I had an idea, which I'm sure my dad would have regretted making me till because it's his fault. So here's what happened. So I woke up in the morning, and my dad usually gave me chores that I had to do when he was at work. Well, I rushed through my chores pretty quick, kind of half rear-ended, but good enough that I didn't think I'd get in trouble. And I was trying to find a way, how am I going to use this tiller? Because it had a forward and a reverse, and there's got to be some way that could be used to rotate around. So I figured out a way to stand on that deck over the tines and control it. And you know what? It worked. I went up and down the yard, across and over and down. I went all over, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was great. I stopped to go take a tinkle in the house, came back out, and then realized, you know what tines do? The tines, things that dig. Yeah, you kind of figured that out. So I noticed a bunch of dig marks all through the lawn, up and down and across everywhere I had gone. I don't know why I didn't think of that. And I spent the rest of the day fixing the dig marks and put the tiller away. I got away with it, but I had to work harder than I should have. That was one invention. My dad bought us a riding lawnmower, which was a good thing because it was a gigantic lawn. It was huge. It was like 10,000 acres. And I was doing it by push mower. Oh, man, it'd take me all dang day to mow the lawn. And my dad took pity upon me and got me a riding lawnmower. Well, not only did he get a riding lawnmower, but he got a trailer to go behind it. Now, there's a lot of stories we'll talk about the riding lawnmower, but we won't talk about them here. We'll talk about them later. But the trailer was pretty cool. It had a dump bed. It kind of looked like a backwards wheelbarrow. And 2 air tires and everything out. And then it had that little tongue come over across. And it just went into this little thing like that and put a pin in. Well, there's a screw that hung down like that. About that far below it. Well, one day I was thinking, the wheelbarrow, you pick up the wheelbarrow by the handles, and you have the tire in the front, and you have the little wheelbarrow part with all the good, you put all the good stuff and you dump it out in one wheel in the front. And I was thinking, you know what? What if I took that trailer with the little screw hanging down, there's a cross member on the wheelbarrow that goes this way, so what if I put the thing down like that, and then it holds on like that? Well, it's worth a try, I thought. What the heck? So I kneeled down in the trailer and I put it across and I lifted the handles and I started to move, and when I want to slow down I put it down and the little skid stopped me. Awesome and cool. Well, I practiced with it and practiced with it, and you could turn really good, and it was just great fun. So my parents' property, the house, now I talked about the football one before, but I said we had a long driveway. Well, yeah, it was long, but it was also downhill. Then it hit the street, which was Center Street, and then Center Street was downhill. Then there was a stop sign, and then it went down. Everything was downhill. Now, downhill's easy, and I like downhill. I don't like uphill. Uphill requires a motor, but downhill's easy. Well, we were having a family party one day, and I was kind of bored, and I got on the phone and I called friend number 1, number 2, as you recall from the football story, and they came up and helped me get the boredom out. And I said, hey, I invented this really cool thing that we could go and have a good time and go down. Well, friend number 2 said, hey, let's just go to my house real quick and then we'll decide how we can make that work. And well, I'll tell you what, this is how we'll do it. I'll be in the back of the wagon and I'll pull it up and you two be in the front. So my friend number 1 and number 2, I don't know why they stayed friends, but God bless them. Thank you guys. They were in the wheelbarrow. So we got in it and right out from by the garage and went out and got down toward the road, met the driveway, and I went, we kind of slowed down and we're going, hey, this is kind of fun. Giddy, giddy, happy, happy, happy. Picked it up, turned, and went down the street. Again, got to the stop sign, come to a stop. You know what? This was working out great. It was good. It was wonderful. It was probably one of those inventions that you would say in popular mechanics at the time, you know. They just didn't know about it because I didn't want to tell them. So I lifted it up and we went up from the stop sign and started heading down the street. Now, friend number 2, his house was just a block down on the north side of the road, and we're going down, and you know, we're picking up speed, and I'm starting to get a little worried because now this is starting to go like this, hitting that thing, and we're going, oh my goodness, I can control it, but there's a lot of weight in the front, and I didn't take that into my computations. You know, kind of like store that for later when I redo the invention. So I'm going down, and we're getting right to the front of my friend's house, and I try to put it down and stop it. You know what happened? I put that down, and there was wheelbarrows and trailers and butts and elbows and legs and heads bouncing all over the street. And the trailer just dug into the ground and tore a trench like 1.5 miles into the road. Now, it's not within 1.5 miles technically, but as you may have surmised, I do tend to exaggerate a little bit for dramatic effect. It might have been a couple of feet. It doesn't matter. The point is we come to a stop. Now, there's a movie, you know, where they get into this bobsled and they crash and say, hey, man, you alive? Yeah, man. Well, that was kind of the same thing. It says, hey, you guys are, yeah, okay. Okay, too. Oh, I think I'm okay, too. Can you walk? Maybe. Well, we had to go into his house, which was now just right across the street. I mean, we were right there by his house. Convenient place to crash and almost kill yourself. And got first aid. That was a good invention.
It's about Providence is a pretty quiet town.
It is now, yeah.
Did you guys ever have to worry about criminals?
Yeah, no, but there were times that I was kind of upset about the possibility of criminals. I like the time that, well, you know that my life has been plagued by monsters, right? And aliens and other things. And, well, I always seen things and that peripheral monsters and the shadow guys come and say hello and things like that. Well, I'm not a dumb kid, and I kind of figured out a few things about electricity and stuff like that. And I would go through and find stuff that my dad had thrown away from his business and whatnot. I found this bell. It was an old case about like this, well, like a sardine can. And if you apply a D-cell battery to it, it just made a hellacious sound, kind of like the phone. Back in our day, the phone was really, it rang, you just wanted to answer because it drove you nuts. But at least I thought, okay, so D-cell battery here, put a screw in here. And a screw in here and here and here. When somebody tries to break into the window, it'll make a contact and go and wake me up, and then I'll kill him. Big bad Dave. What was I, 12? Maybe? 11, 12, 13 at the tops. So I put it in there, and I had it for a couple of days. And one morning, my mother had this thing. Heaven bless my mom. What a sweet lady. But she would come into my room and shake me awake. I like to sleep with the window open, even in the dead of winter. Well, she didn't like that idea, and she shut the window and set my alarm off. Scared the living crap out of her. Score one for me. Yeah, my invention worked. It certainly did. Yeah, I felt good about myself at that moment. Not so good about my mom. I'm sure she had to go upstairs and adjust a few things, but it was pretty cool.
So, I hear that you like to order things through the mail.
I did. Remember, you probably won't, but the magazines always had stuff in it. Like, I ordered sea monkeys. They died. I ordered a model kit. I was into model rockets. I loved them, and I found this thing in this magazine, send me 10 cents. So what you do is you take and write your name and your address and stuff, and you tape a dime, and then you put it in an envelope and ship it off. And this big box come, and there was like 10,000 models in there. We made them and shot them and lost them, and it was just good times. But the one that was really fun was one from my Boy's Life magazine. It was a 7-foot monster that's supposed to look like Frankenstein, with glowing eyes nonetheless. The glowing eyes thing really got me. 7 foot was like, wow, that was like miles above me. And it was like $1.50, $1.75. So, of course, I wrote my name on the thing, cut out the little coupon on the thing, put $1.75. Now, just in the future, when you put in stuff like that and mail it in, you need to tape the money to that so it doesn't come loose. Okay, that's important thing, an important safety tip. So you tape it on, and I sent it, and I was expecting a truck to pull up with a giant box, like with the Frankenstein monster with glowing eyes. That's what I thought I was getting for my $1.75. I mean, my heck, I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get that money. I waited, and I waited. Weeks went by. One day, Mom come home from the shop down the old house, and she had this tube, about that long, maybe this long. She says, "Hey, this come for you in the mail. What did you order this time?" "Oh, I don't know. My rocket parts." Well, I took it downstairs, not real sure what it was. Opened it up, and there was a poster inside. I didn't order a poster. This is probably something not cool, and my parents would kill me for it because it's probably somebody that's scantily dressed or something like that. I never ordered stuff like that, and this is on the record, and I guarantee you I never did order anything like that. So anyway, I regress. Let's go back to anyway, I opened it up, and it's my monster. It's a poster. It ain't no 7-foot monster with glowing eyes. It's a poster. It is 7 feet, and it is the Frankenstein monster. Really bad rendition of him. But I thought, okay, that's kind of cool anyway. So I put it up on the wall. But the eyes didn't glow, and it come with these 2 little peel-off stickers. Guess what? Those were the glowing eyes. Pop, pop. I enjoyed that thing. Actually, it was kind of cool. I kind of got used to it. As you recall, I told you that Mom came in and woke me up in the morning. Now, part of the ritual was to kick me out of the bed, and I had to sit there and help her make the bed so I wouldn't get back in it. Okay? So that way you would have to go up and eat breakfast and do whatever. Well, she had come to the point where she was tired of walking into the room and seeing this giant 7-foot creature on the wall with glowing eyes, and without my knowledge tore it up and took it off the wall and discarded it. Well, I came home from school and walked into my room and thought, something's missing. I glanced around the room. Yeah, it looks right. It looked right. Monster was gone. I went to my mom, says, what happened to my poster? She didn't know. Yeah, right. It's in the garbage bin. I seen the remnants of it in the garbage. But I did order a bunch of other stuff after that. It's not really anything to, like I said, I killed the sea monkeys. That didn't work out well. I just like to order stuff.
So, one of my favorite toys that I got for Christmas was my Voltron toys.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you have one that you remember?
Oh my goodness, you're asking me a hard question. Which one do I go with? When I was very little, I had a turtle called Myrtle the turtle, which was bigger than me. I have very vague memories of it, but my siblings, especially my older sister, told me about it. I also like boxes. My gosh, you know what? Let's do a segment on this. Well, we'll talk my toys.
Yeah, we can do a whole.
Let's go with the bazooka. I got this really cool bazooka, and it shot real rockets. And when you shot it, went. And I sat around the front room while everybody's trying to watch the TV, because we just got new TV, one of the little Philco Fords. Philco, that's kind of back in the old days. It was a little black and white TV. You'd watch TV and the lines would go up in there, and that was a good day. And the lines go across like that. That was a half good day. As long as you could hear the audio, you were watching TV. Anyway, they were watching TV, and they'd be doing their thing, and they'd hear and get slammed by a rocket. I'd laugh, and I'd reload. Shoot that other guy, and they kind of go, yeah. Well, eventually, they got tired of the and the bazooka disappeared. I was heartbroken. I loved that bazooka. I loved assaulting my family. It was great. It was, I was artillery, see? So I was building up to something bigger when I got older. So I needed that bazooka to hone in my skills. Well, as you recall from other stories, in the kitchen, and then you go to the south, the door opened up, and there's the laundry room. So go into the laundry room, and all the laundry piled on one side, the singing dryer on one side, the washer. And I'm kind of just goofing off, and I hit something, and I got an avalanche of stuff, and my bazooka. It was being hidden in the laundry room. Oh, there we go. The assaults began again. Where'd you find that? I don't know. It was in my room, Mom. It just showed up one day. It came home, just like Lassie, and he came home, and my bazooka come home to me. You quit shooting your family members. Okay, Mom. Well, a couple days ago, but I couldn't resist. Bazooka out the door into the garbage can, in pieces. Yeah, I miss that bazooka. Even now, I have dreams often thinking about it. It's probably in the landfill somewhere in Logan. Poor bazooka. Anyway,
It probably is.
it's there with the Lemmy. I'm sure. I'm sure they're talking about how I was such a good owner, and they miss me.
Reminiscing on the old times.
Yeah, absolutely. The car I got was really cool. I got this car you could sit in. It was blue, and you said it was a convertible. And you'd sit in it, and your family members would pull it back, kind of wind it up and let you go, and just watch you go down the road and lickety-split and knock yourself out into buildings, trees, ditches. They didn't care. They thought it was funny. I'm a kid. I don't know how to steer. That car would just go lickety-split, and they're just laughing, and then they come grab me again, and they pull it back, and then zoom, and like I was put in some kind of slingshot and sent down the road into my death. They thought it was really funny, you know. I'm sure they probably enjoyed that toy more than I. But yeah, that was it was MANXX, a Mannix something, plastic car. I ended up taking that with us when we moved from the home down below. But you know, I guess the best toy of all was my first bike. We had a family down the block on to the north of us, and so you go across the street. There's a gas station, and then there was the post office and a couple of houses, and this family lived there. And I was friends with a couple of the kids, and they had older sisters and stuff that were really nice to me. And I'd go over there and play, and they had this little bike. I didn't know how to ride a bike, but you know, they let me play on it. And their kids had already learned. I was just kind of the odd man out on the block. And I started riding it. And they'd help me and push, and I'd fall over, and they'd help me push. By the end of the day, I could ride that sucker. And I was so excited. And I asked her mom, can I ride it home and show my parents? She said, sure, you can ride it home and show your parents. Show your parents. So I rode it, pedaled. I was really proud of myself. Little bike, you know, about that far from the ground. Pedaling, I was just doing really good. I was just so proud looking at all the people. Hey, how are you? Hey, baby. You know, kind of things like that. I'm going down there, and my dad had just come home from work. You know, he was sitting outside. I rode up. Dad, look, I can pedal. He was impressed. I mean, he was really proud of me. I mean, that was like a page turner for him. Like, my son has grown. Well, eventually I had to return that bike. Yeah, that night, that same night. Well, the next morning I woke up, and things just weren't the same since I learned how to pedal. It seemed like I was intended to be mobile, you know, get around. And I was kind of forlorn. Well, there's a store in Logan called, I can't, oh heck. Now I can't remember. Anyway, it'll come up. Anyway, my dad had gone there after his work and had brought me a surprise. And he said, come on out, look what I got. It was beautiful. It had a banana seat. It was a Stingray. Yeah, it had training wheels. Now, at my age, when in my neighborhood, training wheels are just as bad as dinosaur underwear or pink clothing. I mean, my gosh, really, Dad? I just showed you I could ride. It's got training wheels. But it was still the most beautiful bike I've ever seen. And I rode it and thank goodness my dad thought about the training wheels, because it wasn't quite like that little bike before, but it took me a while and I got it back on. And, you know, after 45 months, 3 or 4 years, when I hit 16, he finally took the training wheels off. Okay, that's an exaggeration. I thought it'd be funny. Actually, he took them off about 2 or 3 days after that, so then I could ride the bike. And I rode the bike, and I rode the bike, and I had a good time, and I rode, and I rode, and I rode. Kind of like a Hell's Angel, you know. And there's this kid up the street that had a bike. Jerk. Had sissy bar that high. High as the Empire State Building on the back. And his handlebars come down like that. And do you know what he had on his bike? Right here in the middle, he had a shifter. Just like a hot rod. And you know what? His bike had 5 speeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 speeds. And he could be pedaling. I wanted one like that. And all of a sudden, my bike wasn't that cool no more. You know, that's the way things are in life. You get something that's great, someone gets something better, and you just covet theirs, and yours is not worth poop no more. Well,
I agree.
That's the way it goes.
So this is, what, episode 6?
I guess it'd be episode 6, but this would be kind of like the fake live.
The pre-recorded live.
Yeah, it's pre-recorded live, and you're watching this live, but it's pre-recorded, so.
Now, is there anything that you want to tell your subscribers about your stories?
Yeah, they're all true. Everything I tell you actually happened. Now, there might be little things that I add to, you know, like the porch isn't 10,000 feet. Airplanes didn't buzz us. When I tell a story, it's based on how I perceived it when I was a kid. You know, it's one of the things I think that something that I got, that I can see things as the way they were, and I have those memories. So when I'm talking about my commandos, and I'm talking about the kids and the monsters and all that stuff, it's based on how I remember it. It might be skewed, and if anybody's offended by any of my videos, I'm sorry. It's just how I remember it. You have to remember I was a kid. Now, you go back to the times of the neighborhood wars and stuff, those girls, they turned out to be nice in the end. You know, they were okay kids. And their parents were pretty okay people, too. Mr. Orchard turned out to be a pretty good guy. It's just the way things are, you know. I was a kid at the time, and, you know, it was just the way things were. All except for Attila Kong. She's still a pretty good person. I love her to death. She knows who she is if she's watching. I still like calling her Attila Kong. It's more of a heartfelt thing. Like I said, I love my sister. She was kind of a stinker, and as was I. Especially when little sister come around, and I was no longer the charm in everyone's eye. But you know, yeah, everything's true. Everything did happen. I just made it sound better because that's how I perceived it.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of good stories to come.
There will be a lot of good stories to come. There's going to be things that I've done. A lot of people are probably going to watch this and say, how did your father let you live? You know, I asked my dad that question once, and he just walked away and shook his head. We all make mistakes, and I think that was one of his. You got that right, or do I need to repeat it? Okay, anyway. As you may tell that I'm a sarcastic individual, I'm very sarcastic. My sense of humor is sarcastic. I was raised on my mother's side, that whole family is sarcastic. And that's who I am. I don't know how far this series is going to go. This was intended for my grandkids. I had no idea other people would be interested. And those that are interested, I'm glad you are. I got a lot of adventures and a lot of monsters and other things. And I'm excited that the interest is there. Makes me feel good.
Well, we'll look forward to the rest of them.
Sure. Hope I don't disappoint.
Oh, I don't think you will. They've been pretty good. So I hope everybody leaves thumbs up down below. Make sure you leave comments in there. That way, if you want wisdom, leave your wisdom comments down.
Yeah, ask me questions.
He's good at them. I've heard wisdom my whole life.
Yeah. I've heard wisdom my whole life too. I ignored every one of them.
Alright, well, we'll go put this up and let everybody see what a pre-recorded live is.
Yeah. See, it'd have been better with your questions.
See, now you guys can do it on Halloween. Halloween party.
Yep.
So we'll see you all on the Halloween party.
Bye.